So, have you ever thought to yourself, what would it be like if I took Saitama from One Punch Man and I just randomly chucked him into a magic verse like Harry Potter? What could potentially happen? What would this gag character do? How would he go attending Hogwarts? Well, I have the anime just for you that answers that question. Now, this anime is Mashle. Now, Mashle is such a fun anime. To me, I think it is a top 10. It's definitely in my top 10 now. I have watched 2 seasons. There's 2 seasons out now. I have watched them all. And I'm going to tell you guys in this video, I'm going to describe a bit of it. I'm going to tell you some high points that I absolutely love about this. And we're going to take a deep dive into this anime. And yeah, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly why I think it is a top 10. So strap in, get ready, click that subscribe button, click that like button, and let's get into it. So let's start off with the story of Mashle. Now, the story is very simple. It is the idea of a world, a fantasy land, where magic reigns. Everyone knows how to use magic. The common folk use magic in everyday life activities. There's a school where you go and you practice magic and you can climb up to the ranks to get to, the tippy top of the magic realm and become a divine visionary where you have the ability to change society to your desires. But what happens when you have someone who is born with zero magic capabilities? That is right, Mash Burndead is a character who was born without any magic abilities whatsoever. And in this whole entire story and this world, if you don't have magic, you're an outcast. You have no human rights. You have zero responsibility to survive anymore. They just flat out execute you. So now we have a character in Mash Burndead who is just living peaceful with his pops, who took him in and has raised him, trained him, and now he must attend magic school in order to save his pops and to live in peace and harmony and just have society accept him. That is realistically the very simple version of the story of this anime and the story of Mash Burndead and how he goes in. Obviously, throughout this video, we're going to go through the characters and stories and everything like that. We're going to dive deep into it. But that's just a quick rundown of what this story is. It's about a guy who has been born with no powers, attends magic school with zero powers. Everyone now finds out that he has no powers. How is he going to change the perception on society where you're not supposed to even be alive if you have no magic, because that means you haven't been touched by the gods or you are even worthy of living and breathing the same air as everyone else. So that is just the simple story. So let's get into the next one. So when it comes to world building in this anime, they do such a great job at expanding the lore and expanding the world itself and getting you invested in this world alone. It kind of feels like Hogwarts. I'm not going to lie, it feels like I'm going to an animated version of Hogwarts, except better in every shape and form. Now, what they do really well is they instantly, straight off the bat, they dive you into this world of magic and tell you exactly what is going to happen if you don't have magic and how to tell the difference between different people who possess magic, higher magic abilities, they are chosen by the gods, and the people who have no rights and shouldn't be alive. So the way that you indicate this is by a mark on everyone's faces. Now, if you have zero marks on your face, a line, or, this dark line or anything like that, zero magic capability. Therefore, see you later, you're done. If you have one, that is very common. That means you can use magic, your basic spells, everything like that, that's all good. Now, if you have two, this is when you start to go up the chart. And two are a lot more rarer. And this allows you to tap into more power. You have more magic capabilities. Then we go up to one of the rare ones that we haven't seen much of so far, is the 3. Now, the 3 lines, these are the people that are touched and chosen by the gods. And these are people who can enhance themselves to a higher level with magic. They not only can do that, but they can access the full potential of the wand that they have. And that was really, really interesting concept that they had when they're exploring all this world and how that works and how the hierarchy all works. Very, very fascinating. Now, you can get a third one artificial. We have seen that happen in the anime where someone was given a third line to enhance themselves, but it was not one that they were given. And that changes things as well. So when they're expanding the lore of the school, we start to expand a bit more of the history. Who was the first magic user who brought this all in? The headmaster was obviously underneath him. Innocent Zero, the villain, was underneath him. And we start to learn more about the lore behind here and how everything is starting to come together. So they do such a great job at expanding that and making you want to go and revisit this world over and over and over again. So the power system in this anime, in Mashle, is magic. Pretty straightforward, right? It's just magic. And like I already explained with the lines, each time you get higher. Now, the way that this power system works is something that is very unique and I absolutely adore as well. Now, firstly, you have, in Harry Potter, you have the Elder Wand, the most powerful wand and stuff like that. Well, in here, there are wands. There's a select amount of wands that are like the tippy-toppy wands. And these are people who are known as the Master Canes. So with this, they have a special wand and they're able to access more magic power. And these wands themselves have higher capabilities when it comes to the magic. Now, what I also love about this magic power system that they have in here, everyone has a unique power. And what I mean by that, so when you have a character like Lance that we meet, his magic is all about gravity. He's able to manipulate gravity to his will. And that is what his family is known for, is for the gravity. Now, when you go to someone like Rain Ames, he is the Sword Cane. He is able to create and manipulate these swords that are very powerful. Then you go to the headmaster, who has spatial magic, where he's able to manipulate space itself. And then you have Innocent Zero, who can manipulate time itself. And then obviously when you get to the tippy top, who was the first magic user, he had dark magic, which is apparently one of the strongest, if not the strongest version of magic you can have, that is very hard to deal with. But then you go along other characters as well, and like Dot is a fire magician. Then you go along the lines of Macaron, who uses magic. So you have these very unique abilities within the magic hierarchy that each character has. So you're not getting two characters with the same abilities fighting each other, which I think is a very unique way to do things and something that I really appreciated, because then you start to associate different magic. So when you see the sword, you know, oh, Rain's here, he's here. So I really like that concept, and I think that the way that they incorporated it into the designs and how it came across was very, very fantastic. Now, when it comes to Mash himself, his power system is very different. Now, Mash, with zero magic capabilities, is just a physical freak. This man has insane strength, insane speed, insane durability. He is the definition of a gag character, basically, in this. His strength is so powerful that it's able to repel the magic itself. Kind of crazy when you think about it. He is able to withstand a lot of damage and still be able to move. Now, this is all because he was told by his pops to train constantly, and you can see that. And what I love is what they do with Mash's power when he's up against magic. Now, you could easily just have Mash sit there and just throw a punch, right? He could just throw a punch at this magic and go through. That's boring. So what they do is they come up with these creative ways to utilize his strength and speed to create a moment that is fantastic in the fight itself, rather than just having, oh, brute strength wins all the time. That's what I love about the power system. So you have different types of magic that are all fantastic, all easy to understand what they do. You have the higher ups with the stripes, and then you have Mash Burndead, who's just a physical freak as well. So now let's talk about some of the characters. And we're going to start with Mash Burndead himself. Now, Mash Burndead is a character who is a very peaceful man. He just wants to live in peace. And now he's been sheltered his whole entire life from society. So what happens when you take a character who is like that and throw him into society? Who's going to hate him? And what I love about this character that is Mash is when you first meet him, you start to understand what his motivations is and who he is on the inside. Now, when he meets Finn for the first time and Finn betrays him, he still is willing to stand up for Finn because of the nature of who this person is. Mash is a pure-hearted person that is always going to put the needs of others above himself. And throughout this series, when you're watching, you get to see those moments of Mash turning up and protecting people that he was just fighting, that they were mortal enemies of, people that were trying to kill him and hurt him and harm him. He still stood up for them. So you have this character who is not only showcasing everyone else that he is a great person, but he's changing everyone else around him. And he does that with each character that he interacts with, which I think is a very fantastic way to do your MC. Now, this isn't anything new. We've seen this with the characters like Goku, who meets people and changes them. So this isn't anything new, but the execution of this is fantastic. And this is where we see him interact with the headmaster. And even the headmaster is like, Mash is the key to changing and creating the future that we've all dreamt about. No one else could do it, but Mash has that potential to do it. So I really, really love that. I also love that he loves cream puffs. The funny thing is, every time he has a cream puff somewhere, and he just wants to live a peaceful life, eat cream puffs with his friends, and just, not hurt anyone. So Mash as a character is very good, very fun, very enjoyable, and he has a lot of qualities that I think a lot of us want to have in our own life. Now, when it comes to Finn is the first character that makes friends with Mash. And now when you meet Finn, he's very much this scared, kid that doesn't really fit in with society. So when he finds out about Mash and Mash stands up for him, this is where he becomes a very loyal friend with Mash. And on this journey, you start to realize that Finn is the brother of the Sword Cane, which is Rain. That's his older brother. And now, obviously, Rain is absolutely a beast. Finn is not quite on that level. So as you progress, you start to see when everyone comes together that Finn is actually kind of the normal one out of everyone. He's the one that's kind of sitting there like, okay, I need to keep everyone together. There's this really beautiful moment in season 2 when he's talking with Mash's pops and talking about how he's going to make sure that Mash always has everyone together. So Finn is really this glue. And what I loved is there's this one particular moment where they have to protect this crystal and they get separated, and Finn has the crystal and he is getting tortured. And I mean absolutely tortured by this voodoo guy who stabs himself, but Finn takes the damage. And he's willing to lay his life on the line so that he can save Mash. And you can see that Mash is already rubbing off on him. And when he does that, this is where you get the indication of, okay, Finn's willing to do anything to help and protect Mash as well. So you see this beautiful character arc of Finn as well when you first meet him to when you see him in season 2 and how he's come around. So again, Finn, another fantastic supporting character. Then we come to Lance. Lance is hilarious and badass at the same time. Now, when you first meet Lance, he is a guy who you feel like, okay, so this guy's going to be the first villain that Mash is going to fight. But what happens is Mash instantly, in that exchange that they have, changes Lance as a character. We understand that he's doing this for his sister because his sister is losing her magic. And once she loses her magic, we all know what's going to happen. So Lance is out here trying to become a divine visionary in order to change society so that he can protect his little sister at all costs, especially after his parents disown them. So this is what his motivation is. Now, it's a running gag theme about his sister and how much he actually loves his sister and how, he's got merch and all sorts of stuff. It's hilarious. But When Lance gets really down to business, when he is threatened or he needs to do something, he does not muck around. And the way he utilizes his gravity magic is fantastic. So, again, Lance, another great character. Then we have Dot, who is the fiery one. When you first meet him, he's hilarious. Dot is like the guy that in your group that is hilarious. That's just funny no matter what. And he is like, all talk and that. He has a bit of the walk, but ultimately he's not quite there. But I love Dot. I think Dot is one of the most fun characters in this whole entire series. When you first meet him to where he is now, what I love is the way that they incorporate the comedy with him. He is very much the comic relief character in this whole entire series. Outside of Mash, obviously. Mash is literally pretty much a gag character. But outside of that, Dot is that comedic outlet. So funny things happen to him. He makes funny remarks. He makes funny comments. And I really love him. When you get down to the core of the character, though, there is a drive to him as well to be the strongest. He wants to be the best of the best as well. So it's not like he's just there for fun and games, but he is there. And we start to slowly learn more about him. And Mash, obviously, and everyone else is playing a part in evolving his character to become more caring and kind and wanting to help others. And then we have Lemon, who will tell you that she and Mash are getting married and that they're together. And it's this running theme that I absolutely loved. Lemon doesn't really do much when it comes to the magic stuff. We don't really see much of her. She's there as a very much a supporting role. She's a lot of fun when she's on screen. She's hilarious. We get this really nice moment that turns into a comic moment where she's over talking to everyone who finds out that Mash has no powers and they want to take him. She starts to, give this beautiful monologue about how she cares for him and he's going to change and everything like that. She does take a rock to the face for Mash and showcases that she's willing to take whatever punishment she's going to get in order for Mash to be happy. So, what I love about these characters is how they rub off on each other and how each of their own character personalities start to incorporate into everyone. And this group of 5 that we follow are just absolutely fantastic, a lot of fun, and yeah, I really, really enjoy the characters. Now, when it comes to the fights, they are very unique, and as I said earlier in the video, I'm going to explain a little bit more about what I mean by the uniqueness of using the power system of Mash Burn Dead. Now, Mash is a physical, absolute beast. Now, instead of just having him, like I said, just throw a punch and beat magic, they incorporate different ways for him to do this. So there's moments where he uses a wand and turns it into a tennis racket. Gag moment. Hilarious. But then there's moments where he's physically lifts up the ground and throws it. He does all different types of things with his power that are creative, because in a way you're kind of sitting there and you're like, well, how many times can we just see him just punch through things? There's a moment where he's fighting Macaron where he actually causes a smaller corridor so that they can't escape, and it makes it easier for him to predict where the movements are going to go. I really enjoyed that aspect as well. As much as he's a physical prowess person that relies on his physical stuff, the way that they structure it with the magic, especially when he's fighting those certain magical things and how they show you how he dodges, how he moves, it's very unique in the way that they do it. And I think the fights are just absolutely fantastic. They're a lot of fun. The fight with Innocent Zero and the Headmaster, when the time magic and the space magic and the dark magic are going at it, was freaking awesome. The visuals were fantastic, and that's what I love. And I love when Mash fights Rain as well, the sword cane. That was hilarious, where he's grabbing the swords and using it as like a baseball bat almost and bunting it. Like, there's just so much uniqueness to the fights in this anime that just make it very lovable. Then we have the comedy. And like I said, there are so many comedy moments throughout here. I mean, you have characters interacting with a way where we see the comedy on screen. So, for instance, you have Mash zone out and, start thinking about, oh, I'm going to eat this and that. And then you'll have one of the characters be like, did I just see you zone out and see your thoughts like this? So we have these moments where they're breaking, like sort of like a fourth wall break, which I find hilarious. And they do that so often in this show where we see different things, like Mash just zoning out after, we get this huge monologue of what is, explaining about what's happening or what you need to do. And then we have Mash just zone out. It's just this funny moment. Then we have these funny comments happening as well that just landed. So the comedic timing, the comedic writing is at to a highest degree possible when you're trying to produce an anime like this, where you're trying to get the laughs. And so many times throughout here, I was smiling and laughing and just having so much fun with this anime because of that comedy. Now, they also use Mash's abilities in a comedic way. For instance, when he's flying in the broom, moving his legs very quickly. It's a gag moment. It's hilarious. There are so many other moments like that throughout the series that just make it so much fun. So in conclusion, I absolutely adore Mashle. I think the animation's fantastic. The gags are freaking hilarious. The power system's great. The world building's great. The story is fantastic. The characters are absolutely a lot of fun as well. They have a lot of stuff to them. There's character arcs. I think if you haven't seen Mashle, you need to go see it, because it is just one of those animes that you're going to love. If you like One Punch Man, you're going to like this. I think if you also like magic and fantasy in that, I think you will like this as well. And obviously, who doesn't love comedy? It's hilarious, man. I'm telling you, you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this anime. I loved it. But if you have seen it, let me know your thoughts down below. I think it's underrated. I don't think it gets talked about enough. And for me, it's going to be in my top 10. So let me know your thoughts. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.